All right, so we're diving deep into Sanny Luvv's Good Vibes Only.
Elevate your mindset for a better life, yeah.
You got it, that's the one. And I think for our listeners today, they're really looking to extract maximum value from this.
Absolutely.
Get those takeaways. And right off the bat, the structure of the book itself is kind of interesting. It's almost like there are two outlines in one. You've got the general positivity, and then you've got this other outline zeroing in on personal growth.
Yeah. And then the personal reflection at the end
Yeah.
is sort of a third part almost. It's almost like she's walking the walk.
Yeah.
Showing us how these principles can actually play out.
Totally. Okay, so chapter 1, she kind of hits hard with this idea that our thoughts are the seeds of our reality. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that? This whole idea that our thoughts shape our emotions, our actions, our experiences.
I think it's a powerful concept. And one thing that she does a good job of is explaining that our thoughts aren't necessarily facts, but they're interpretations.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like we're all wearing these personalized glasses that kind of color how we see the world.
Oh, so you're saying if I'm constantly thinking I'm going to mess this up, I'm actually more likely to mess it up.
Yeah, precisely. And that's why recognizing and challenging negative thought patterns is so crucial.
Yeah.
That's actually something she gets into in chapter 3.
Okay.
She identifies all these different thought saboteurs, really.
That's fascinating because, I've definitely caught myself catastrophizing.
Oh, for sure.
Before a big presentation or something.
Yep.
My mind will, go to the worst case scenario immediately.
Totally.
Do you think that a lot of people struggle with that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she makes it clear that it's not about eradicating negative thoughts altogether.
Right.
It's unrealistic.
Right.
It's about becoming aware of the patterns, comparing them to funhouse mirrors that distort our perception.
I like that.
And then learning to reframe them.
Okay, so we're not aiming for some unrealistic state of perpetual bliss.
Right.
It's more about gaining control over those thoughts.
Exactly. And choosing a more empowered perspective.
I like that. Okay, so then that kind of leads us into chapter 2, where she starts to explore the science behind positive thinking and how it can actually rewire our brains.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're telling me that I can train my brain to be more positive?
Yeah, absolutely can. Yeah.
I mean, I knew our brains were adaptable, but that's incredible.
It is.
Wow.
It's remarkable. The book highlights this concept of neuroplasticity.
Right.
Which is this amazing ability of our brains to change and form new connections.
So it's not just a feel-good concept. There's actual science to back this up.
There is.
Yeah.
She goes into some really compelling research in this chapter. For example, she talks about studies that have shown how positive experiences can actually reduce activity in the amygdala.
Wow.
Which is the fear center of the brain.
That's amazing. I'm starting to see how this all ties together, recognizing those negative patterns, understanding this neuroplasticity, and then actively choosing a more positive perspective. Okay. So then once we lay that foundation, then we can start to build our positivity toolkit.
Exactly.
Which is where chapters 4 and 5 come in.
Exactly. Full of practical techniques.
I am ready to be equipped.
Right.
But before we get into the specifics of that, I'm curious to hear more about this whole neuroplasticity thing. What kind of impact can positive thinking really have?
Well, in the book, she cites studies demonstrating that positive thinking can actually lead to increased activity in the prefrontal cortex.
Okay.
Which is the part of our brain responsible for, planning and decision-making and emotional regulation.
So it's not just about feeling happier, it's about actual cognitive function too.
It is. It really is. It highlights the interconnection of our mental and emotional well-being.
Oh, wow. Okay.
When we cultivate positivity, it has this ripple effect.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so let's get into those practical techniques you mentioned. Chapters 4 and 5, this is where we're building the toolkit. What are some of the key takeaways here?
Well, she really emphasizes the power of daily affirmations. And I have to admit, I was surprised by some of the research that she cites.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about repeating feel-good phrases.
You're right.
It's about consciously choosing words that challenge limiting beliefs.
Okay.
And really reprogram our subconscious minds.
I could see how that would be powerful, especially if you're doing it consistently.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those affirmations would become self-fulfilling prophecies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about affirmations. She also goes into things like gratitude practices and visualization techniques, which can be incredibly powerful tools for like shifting our perspective and attracting more positivity.
I've heard a lot about gratitude journals,
Mhm.
but I've always been a bit skeptical. Does simply like writing down things you're grateful for really make a difference?
It might sound simple, but she actually highlights studies in the book
Okay.
that show that gratitude journaling can lead to increased levels of happiness and well-being.
Right.
And it makes sense if you think about it. When we're focusing on what we're grateful for, it shifts our attention away from, what's lacking.
Right.
And it helps us appreciate the abundance.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light. So we've got like affirmations, gratitude, visualization. It's like a whole arsenal.
That's right.
But what about our environment? Can that impact our mindset as well?
Absolutely. Chapter 6 gets into this. The importance of creating a positive environment, both in terms of the people we surround ourselves with and the physical spaces that we inhabit.
Oh, this is where things get really interesting for me because like I'm all about creating a curated experience, not just with what I'm reading, but with like my surroundings.
Yeah.
What are some of the takeaways there?
Well, one thing she really emphasizes is the importance of decluttering our physical spaces,
Yeah.
arguing that a cluttered environment can actually contribute to a cluttered mind.
Oh, okay.
And, she also encourages us to be mindful of the energy that we bring into our homes, our workspaces,
Right.
surrounding ourselves with things that inspire us and uplift us.
Oh, that totally resonates with me. I always feel so much more productive and creative when my workspace is tidy and organized.
Yeah,
It's like clearing out the physical clutter creates space for like mental clarity too.
absolutely. And it's not just about our physical spaces, it's also about the people we allow into our lives.
Right.
She encourages us to choose relationships that are supportive and uplifting and to set boundaries with those who drain our energy.
That's so important.
Yeah.
It's like we have the power to curate not just our physical spaces, but also our social spaces. You
Exactly.
get to choose who you allow to like influence your energy and your mindset.
Right. And speaking of energy, Chapter 11 delves into the power of language,
Okay.
both in our self-talk and in our communication with others.
Yeah.
And she makes this really compelling case for choosing words that empower us
Right.
and those around us.
I love that. It's like we're not just responsible for our own positivity, but like we can contribute to the collective positivity.
Okay.
But let's be real. Life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. What about those like inevitable setbacks and challenges? How do we like maintain a positive outlook when things get tough?
That's where Chapter 7 comes in.
Okay.
It's all about overcoming challenges. And this is where her personal experience really shines through. Remember that story about Veronica and the canceled project?
Hmm? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That was such a powerful example of like reframing a setback as a learning opportunity. Like
Exactly.
instead of letting it define her, she used it as fuel.
Exactly. And that's a key takeaway,
Yeah.
how we respond to challenges.
Yeah.
It's far more important than the challenges themselves.
So it's not about pretending that everything is okay.
Right.
It's about acknowledging like the difficulty and then approaching it with like a more empowered mindset.
Exactly.
Mm.
And that's where resilience comes in. And she talks about this a lot throughout the book.
Yeah.
This idea that like we can develop that inner strength.
Resilience. It's almost like a superpower
It is.
that we all need to develop.
Yeah, but how do we build that?
Right. That's what I'm wondering. Is it like something you're born with or can it be cultivated?
Well, that's what's so great. She actually dedicates an entire chapter to this.
Yeah.
Chapter 12. And she argues that resilience is a skill that can be strengthened.
Okay. I'm so relieved to hear that. So what are some like practical tips for building up our resilience reserves?
Well, she encourages cultivating what's called a growth mindset,
Okay.
which is about viewing challenges as like opportunities for learning
Okay.
rather than just setbacks.
Right.
And she also emphasizes the importance of self-care, recognizing that we can't pour from an empty cup.
Oh, yeah.
And, connecting with our support systems, having those people that can provide the strength and encouragement.
It's like building a support structure around our positivity.
Yes.
So that even when those inevitable challenges arise, we have those resources.
Exactly.
Okay, I love that.
And resilience goes hand in hand with adaptability, right?
Yeah.
Being flexible and open to new possibilities.
It's about rolling with the punches, adjusting our course.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how all of these themes, change, resilience, adaptability, they're all like interconnected, right?
Absolutely.
Building upon each other to create this like more robust and positive mindset.
Yeah. You're right. It's like creating a foundation for navigating the ups and downs.
Exactly. And speaking of foundations, chapter 9 focuses on sustaining a positive mindset,
Yes.
which seems to be like the cornerstone of her whole approach.
Absolutely. She makes it very clear that cultivating positivity is not a one-time effort. It's an ongoing practice.
Okay.
It's about creating those positive habits
Yeah.
and integrating them.
It's like maintaining a healthy lifestyle, right?
Right.
It's not just about going on a diet or hitting the gym once. It's about those choices that you're making day after day.
Yes. And just like physical fitness, maintaining a positive mindset requires that consistent nurturing.
So let's open that toolbox then. What are some of those daily practices that can help us sustain those positive vibes, especially when life gets hectic?
Well, she recommends starting the day with affirmations,
Okay.
setting those positive intentions.
Mm-hmm.
And then throughout the day, she encourages us to, incorporate little mindful moments, whether it's taking a few deep breaths or savoring a cup of tea, appreciating the beauty around us.
It's like creating those pauses
Yes.
to reconnect.
Yes. And she emphasizes the importance of, being mindful of what we consume, not just food, but media, our social interactions,
Yeah.
choosing those inputs that are going to nourish and uplift us.
It's like being selective about what we allow into our mental and emotional space.
Exactly. And then at the end of the day, she suggests reflecting on our experiences, acknowledging our accomplishments,
Okay.
and expressing gratitude.
It's like creating that positive feedback loop,
Exactly.
setting ourselves up for another day.
Exactly.
I like it.
It's all about making those conscious choices.
And speaking of positivity, chapters 10 and 11 really dive into this idea of spreading those good vibes to others.
This is where her message really resonates, I think.
Yeah.
She reminds us that positivity is contagious.
Right.
Our actions, our words, even our energy can have a ripple effect.
It's like we're each like little beacons of light.
Yes.
And the more we shine our light, the brighter the world becomes.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's something that we can all strive for. But how do we put this into practice? How do we actually spread those good vibes in a way that feels authentic?
That's a great question. I mean, it's not about forcing positivity on others.
Right.
Or pretending that everything's perfect.
Yeah.
It's about being a source of like encouragement,
Yes.
kindness, and compassion.
Exactly. And she has some inspiring examples of this in action. Remember Amelia with her, win of the week team meetings?
Oh, yeah.
Celebrating her team's accomplishments?
Yeah, fostering a culture of appreciation.
Exactly. And what about Ray, who uses his social media platform to, spread positive messages,
Yes.
inspiring others to make a difference?
Those are fantastic examples of how we can use our unique talents,
Mhm.
our platforms to really make an impact.
Exactly. It's about finding those small but meaningful ways to, brighten someone's day, offer a word of encouragement, or just, share a smile.
Yeah. And, chapter 11 really dives into the power of language in this process.
Yes, she reminds us that words have incredible power to build up or tear down.
It's like that saying, the tongue has the power of life and death.
That's right.
The words we choose, both in our self-talk and how we communicate with others.
Absolutely.
It can have a profound impact on our positivity levels and the energy we bring into the world.
Absolutely. And she emphasizes the importance of being mindful of our language, choosing words that empower us and those around us.
Like what? Give us the goods.
Well, she talks about the power of I statements, which allow us to express our needs and feelings without blaming.
Okay.
She encourages active listening, really tuning in to what others are saying.
It's about creating that space for open and honest communication,
Exactly.
where everyone feels heard,
And respected.
even when there are disagreements.
Yes. That's crucial for cultivating healthy and positive relationships.
So we've talked about embracing change, building resilience, sustaining positivity, even spreading those good vibes. But I'm curious, what is her ultimate message? What is, the essence of good vibes only?
I think it's about recognizing that we have the power to choose our thoughts, our actions,
Yeah,
and ultimately the kind of life that we want to create.
I like that.
And understanding that positivity is not a destination.
Right.
It's a journey.
It's a journey, yeah. It's about those small, consistent choices we make
Yes.
that add up.
Yes, exactly. And that's where her personal reflection at the end of the book really resonates, I think.
Yes.
It's like she's saying, hey, I'm not perfect. I still have my struggles, but here's what's been working for me. It makes it all feel so much more relatable.
It does, and it really highlights the importance of like consistent practice.
Hmm.
She talks about her morning routine, starting the day with affirmations, gratitude. It's like she's setting the tone.
Yes, before even stepping out the door.
Exactly. Win the morning, win the day, right?
That's right.
But it's not just about those morning rituals.
No, she talks about revisiting her affirmations throughout the day,
Okay.
especially when she's faced with challenges.
Yeah.
And she emphasizes the importance of journaling in the evening, reflecting, acknowledging her accomplishments, and expressing gratitude.
It's like creating those positive feedback loops throughout the
Mhm.
day.
Yes, reinforcing those good vibes.
It's so inspiring to see how she's like woven these practices into her life, making them such a natural part of her routine.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a powerful reminder that we all have the power to create a life filled with good vibes. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It's about those small choices. And speaking of meaningful, I'm curious to hear more about her thoughts on gratitude,
Oh, yes,
which she dedicates a whole chapter to.
she does.
I've always been a little skeptical, like it all sounds a bit too woo-woo for me. What's the real deal with gratitude?
Well, one thing I really appreciate is that she doesn't shy away from the science behind it.
Okay.
She dives into research,
Okay, now you've got my attention.
showing that gratitude can actually have a profound impact.
Okay. What's the science behind it?
For example, she cites studies showing that practicing gratitude can increase the production of dopamine and serotonin,
Okay.
those feel-good neurotransmitters.
Wait, so simply focusing on what we're grateful for can actually change our brain chemistry?
It can.
That's fascinating.
It is. And it's not just those immediate feel-good effects. Gratitude has also been linked to, improved sleep, reduced stress levels, even boosted immunity.
So it's not just some fluffy self-help concept. There's
No.
actual evidence.
There is. And, she emphasizes that it's not about forcing ourselves to feel grateful when we're not.
Right.
It's about cultivating this deeper appreciation for the good things.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about shifting our perspective,
Yes.
training our minds to notice the abundance that already exists. It's exact.
Even when things are challenging.
Exactly. And in Chapter 13, she offers several practical tips
Okay.
for incorporating gratitude into our lives, like keeping a gratitude journal, expressing appreciation, or simply pausing to savor those small moments of joy.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light.
Good.
It's not about denying the difficult stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's about choosing to focus on the good,
That's right.
even amidst the challenges.
Mhm.
I'm definitely going to have to give that gratitude journal a try.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
The power of thoughts, neuroplasticity, building that positivity toolkit, creating a supportive environment,
Mm-hmm.
and even the transformative power of gratitude.
It's quite a journey.
It is. It's like a blueprint for a more positive life.
It is.
And that's just the beginning.
That's just the start. There's so much more to unpack.
I can't wait to dive deeper. But for now, we'll leave our listener with all of this amazing information to ponder.
Yes.
Be sure to tune in for part 2.
That's where we'll explore even more